Okay. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. I'll call to order the City of Lawrenceburg Board of Works meeting for September 4th, 2018. Could I get a roll call, Mr. Richardson?
Yes, sir. Board Member Paul Seymour Jr.
Here.
Board Member Alan Calloway is absent. Police Chief Don Combs.
Here.
Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
Here.
EMS Director Bobby Mills.
Here.
City Attorney Del Weldon is present but not in the room. Utility Director Olin Clausen, also present but not in the room. President Kelly Milan.
Here.
And myself.
All right. Any announcements? I don't have any for this particular meeting. If not, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion will carry. Mr. Seymour approved that too, I think.
I see that.
Committee reports. Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
All I have is I passed out the run totals for August. We had 76 calls for the month of August.
All righty. Police Chief Don Combs.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to let the board know that next year in my capital projects, we order cars. I usually do them in November, but I found out recently that they are going to discontinue the 2019 models and go straight to 2020s. Their plants are going to shut down for like 3 or 4 months, and we wouldn't be able to get them until like next October. So we'll go ahead and order them this month and get them in by January, just like basically 2 months early. I just want to let you know on that.
But we won't have to pay for them until January.
That is correct.
New budget.
Be
Okay.
next year, yes, sir.
Okay.
The only other thing I have, Mayor, is our new officers will get started. One will start Friday and one will start Monday. Everything's been set. We've been getting things ready for them, so they're all set to go. So they start. One starts Friday, one starts Monday.
Okay. These are the two who are going to ride horseback, right?
Yes.
All right.
If you buy us horses,
Yeah. Mules.
that's all I have.
All right. EMS Director Bobby Mills.
No, Mayor, I put in front of you a quote, get permission to purchase something. And what it is, it's a fill station for portable oxygen tanks. We're doing it the dinosaur way. It's very unsafe.
You just blown into them or what?
Well, no, we just kind of hook the hose to the regulator, take the regulator off, hook it straight to the tank, and it gets hot and it can explode. And
I don't want to hear that. Go ahead.
so on. But anyway, I put it off, and we get new people in. They don't like the old system, which this is the safe way of doing it. And I got Fire Chief to look into this for me. It's similar to what they have for their cascade system when they fill their tanks. This is a single bottle unit. And I got funding, but I don't have it appropriated, so I talked to Brittany about it. She said we'll appropriate the funds, bring it for council. It's just more safe to do it this way than the old way.
So it's the price we're looking at, $75.64.15?
That's what we're looking at, but we don't know if they're going to actually charge a little bit to install it.
Okay.
But we're thinking maybe if we can appropriate it just a little bit more, we don't have to use it, we don't use it. Back.
Okay.
I just need your guidance to do this.
I don't know how, I think I know how Mr. Seymour feels about the safety aspect of it. I think it's a no-brainer. You need to get it done.
It's a need.
So, all right.
I'd like to make a motion and let him move forward with his plan.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Motion carry. Thanks, Bobby.
That's all I have.
Anything else? Okay. New business, Miss Jenny Felix, labor apprentice recommendations.
Good evening.
Evening.
I I am here to request approval for the hiring of 2 candidates for the apprentice laborer position. Just a little bit of history as far as how we got to where we are tonight with the 2 candidates that I have here. This was a committee decision, and that committee consisted of myself, Mr. Seymour, Mr. Richardson, as well as Kim Ferrer and Brad Massey. We did run the advertisements and we received 62 applications. Once those applications did come in, they came into my office and then I removed all the identifying factors for those individuals, which would be things like their names, their address, their phone numbers, emails, anybody that they know in the city are related to. So when I presented it to the committee and the committee was able to review the applications, all that we were able to show them, or I was able to show them, was their skills, their abilities, and their employment history. So the committee members then went ahead and reviewed those 62 applicants, all 62 of them, and then we then came back and decided on who we wanted to pursue for an interview. The majority voted for 15 of those 62 to interview. We contacted those 15, and 12 of them responded, so we ended up interviewing 12 of them. From those 12, we identified 4. There's 2 positions. We identified 4 that we wanted to talk to again, that we were all in agreement that we wanted to talk to again, that were the top 4. And we did a second interview with those 4, met after interviewing those folks, and the committee was unanimous in our decision as far as who these 2 recommendations are going to be. So I would like the board's approval to hire for the labor apprentice position Brian Brooks and Craig Dabbs.
Craig Dabbs. All right. Okay. All right, any questions?
I'd like you to take your description one step further.
Okay.
There was 5 on the panel, and you numbered. Can you go through how we came to the 15 and then how we came to the 4?
Yeah, so when everybody got their initial 62 applications, all the applications were numbered 1 through 62. So everyone, the way that we were identifying them was by a number. So when we came back and said, okay, we actually were supposed to, we were bringing back our top 20. Bring back your top 20 numbers. So we went through and everyone, we just kind of sat down and rattled through. We said, okay, how many are voting for number 1? And we just went down the list that way. And the folks that had a majority, so 3 or more votes, were the individuals that we wanted to come back for the first interview. And the individuals that had 3 or more votes out of those 62 were those 15.
Okay.
And then from there, after the initial interviews, to get to the 4, we
Same thing.
We did, yes, we did the same thing, but at this time we knew who they were, obviously, because we interviewed them. But we all submitted our names. This time we submitted them to Richard because I wasn't in town at that time. But we all did it individually. And Richard then went ahead and collected the data and emailed the names out and everybody's scores from there.
Thank you, Jenny. I'd like to make a motion that these 2 fellows get hired as soon as possible. We're shorthanded.
Yes, we are.
So I think they're 2 real good hires. They'll add a lot to the community. And my motion is to let Ms. Felix get them signed up and get them to work as quick as it can happen.
All right, I'll second that motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion will carry. Thanks, Jenny. Thanks for
Thanks, Jenny.
Thanks to the team. Okay, new business. I don't have any other new business, Mr. Seymour, unless you do.
Nope.
I have no old business tonight on Board of Works. I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? That motion will carry. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion will carry. Parks and Playgrounds as soon as we are seated. Okay, welcome everybody up here. I'd like to call to order the Parks and Playgrounds meeting for September 4th, 2018 for the city of Lawrenceburg by getting a roll call, please.
Board Member Tony Abbott.
Here.
Board Member Aaron Cook.
Here.
Board Member Mel Davis.
Here.
Board Member Randy Abner.
Here.
Board Member Paul Seymour Jr.
Here.
City Attorney Dal Weldon.
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen.
Present.
President Kelly Milan.
Here.
And myself.
Okey-doke. Announcements. I have none for Parks and Playgrounds unless you all up here do. Okay. I will make an announcement. I drive around, all the time, look into our parks and stuff because I know Mr. Farrar and Mr. Massey probably get tired of the texts that I send them sometimes about, hey, you need to maybe have them take a look at this or that. And but I tell you what, I'm very, whether it's our street park or up on the hill or Newtown or even George Street in that area, every one of our parks is being very utilized. So we understand that with that comes, time that we have to refurbish those parks, which we are actively starting to do. But what we're doing is, I just want to ask the community to be, be patient with us because those kinds of things don't happen overnight. But we are actively looking at each and every park on improvements and what we can do to keep those up to date. You've heard us say up here, we've built a lot of things over the years here in Lawrenceburg, and you got to keep them nice, but it takes money, it takes time, it takes effort. And so just rest assured that, I'm excited about how much our parks get used, and I would be very upset if they weren't being used. I think everybody up here would be, and you all should feel the same way. So anyway, I just wanted to say that publicly because I know that a lot of people, probably get a little impatient. They obviously have their ideas and what should be priority, and we obviously listen to those concerns, but not always does it always work out that way timing wise. So we just ask you to be patient with us.
Mayor?
Yes.
I got one thing. I talked to one of our citizens on the Hill this evening. They do got the lights on the park, but we do have some damaged light fixtures. That light fixture's still on.
They've been
Those ordered?
They've been ordered. The globes you talking about?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm just happy to see the lights back on
Yep.
after all that. Okay. Any other announcements from anybody up here? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay, that motion will pass. New business. Looks like we've got Mr. Mark Graver from Ivy Tech Community College to talk about the Monster Mash Dash 5K.
I'm here to recruit walkers and runners. Looks like a lot of runners up here I'm looking at right now.
Yes.
So
Thing is, you better put us in the front of the pack because we just take off like rabbits.
There you go, set the pace. There you go, excellent. I will be brief. I'm here on behalf of Ivy Tech requesting use of the Riverfront Plaza and Levee Trail on Saturday, March 20th at 8:30 for our 4th annual Monster Mash Dash. We will host this event on our campus, and the purpose of the event is to raise money for our Student Emergency Scholarship Fund. We've contacted the Conservancy District to let them know about the event, and we've also provided our certificate of liability to the district. We will have Lawrenceburg's finest there, Lawrenceburg Police at the event, as well as EMS folks at the event also. So with that, that concludes my request. And like I said, I do have applications for everybody, and anyone in the audience that would like to participate too.
I will take an application. But how long have you guys been doing this?
4th year, sir.
The 4th
Yeah,
year?
Yeah.
No, 4th annual. Okay.
Yeah, we always have around 100 participants. Last year, it was snowing up till about 5:30 a.m. that morning, and I thought we were going to cancel, and that sun came out, and believe it or not, runners do show up right after it stops snowing, so I was kind of shocked. It was about 35, 40 degrees that morning, a little nippy,
Exactly.
But we did have a success. A lot of great sponsors, too, in the community.
Well, thanks. Thanks for all you do.
Appreciate it, sir.
Any questions for Mr. Graver?
I only got one. When you say Riverfront Plaza, in my mind, it's the fenced-in area that we don't allow anybody in. But I don't think you have that in mind.
I did not have that in mind, sir,
Okay.
yes.
I just
I was
wanted to make
thinking,
sure. You're
I
talking
was
about
thinking
the end of Walnut
down
Street.
river, not upriver, downriver for my.
So I want to
deck,
make
yes.
sure,
I would not go in that area.
that's fine. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Good point. Yeah, I like that. All right, well, I'll entertain a motion then to approve the Monster Mash Dash 5K for October the 20th at 8:30 a.m.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry.
Thank you very much
Thank
for
you,
the
sir.
support, college.
All right. Any other new business?
I got something here after speaking to the parks foreman and looking at the LCD fields over there. There's a line cleaner, the baselines. It digs them up, levels it out, and picks up anything that's there, like hypodermic needles or anything like that. And he would like to purchase it. It's in his budget. The money's in his budget.
Who asked for this?
Mr. Pope.
Okay, well, how come you didn't
Well,
come
I
talk?
seen one over at LCD and was asking him about it, and he said that he had looked into it.
Okay.
So I got the information from him. I showed the councilman earlier.
I'm glad to know about it now. Thank you.
Yeah, well, here, bud. Take a look. I just got that just for the meeting.
I just don't, I mean, because, I mean, I obviously don't have a problem with it, but we just did our budget, sit down with all the department heads, and they didn't bring it up.
Well, maybe it's because, well, it's from the one that I seen over at the LCD and was talking to him about it. And he said he'd like to have it, but
And what's this do, just sweeps it?
no, it cleans it up, digs it up, and levels it out, which I know they have a problem with the baselines. Getting
Oh,
ruts in them like.
yeah.
This keeps them level. Mr. Seymour knows more about them than I do, I think.
You guys get one of these?
We got one of them, we bought it when you guys did all the work on your field, and I didn't know it was coming up tonight either, by the way. I went down, I got a call last week from Kim and Toby. They wanted me to go down and work on the field, try to get it put up for the winter. It's in pretty bad shape. We need a lot more than just that. So Tony, I'm all for doing that, but I think we need to have a meeting and a work session on our fields. Right now on that ballpark, if you go look at it, and I've walked it twice now in the last 4 days, we killed center field grass. We have a river running all the way out to the outfield because we sprayed Roundup and the rain must have came. So we've got a situation to where we spent, and Kelly, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going to say 80?
It was over 100.
Okay. We spent over $100,000 on that ballpark, and right now, if you go look at it, the infield needs tilled, and the reason why the infield needs tilled is because we don't have that piece of equipment, okay?
Right, this one?
However, that equipment ain't gonna do it. We need to make a commitment, guys. Right now, our outfield needs slit seeded, our outfield needs aerated, it needs overseeded. Our infield between the baselines and the dugouts are terrible. We need tremendous amount of weed control. In another year, we're gonna be in the same shape we was when we went to doing this. So my comment to everybody here on this board is we need to have a better talk about our ball fields down there. I don't wanna just buy this piece of equipment and everybody think everything's gonna be okay. We gotta have better commitment to our ball fields. So tonight, I would like you to table this, and I would like to have this more of a topic of discussion. I would like the councilman to go down and walk that ball field, and the mayor and everybody else involved, and take into consideration what I've just said, because there's no reason, we don't need experts to do what we can do, but as a group, we can make a commitment and we can tell our foreman and person that's in charge of our parks, here's what we want done and here's what we expect out of you and here's what's in your budget. I'd like to see you let that be tabled. We don't need it this winter. However, I don't want to table it very long. I'd like to move on it pretty quick too, Tony.
Well, how about this? How about, we don't have to table it because we haven't made no motion, but how about let's everybody look at the fields and we can have a little work session on it and then we can decide what we need to get at the work session.
That's great.
I'll get that
And I'd
set up.
encourage everybody to go down and look at the field. Pay attention, we spent a lot of money on putting artificial turf around our outfields and up against our lines, and now we have grass coming up through it because we're not spraying it. So there are certain things we need to do. Now, I'm not blaming this on Toby because here I go again. We got two guys that are cutting grass in an awful lot of places.
Yeah.
So is there time? You know, is there time? We got to come up with the help and the commitment from somebody that's going to go over and help him do what he needs to do.
This will go hand in hand. I know Brad and I and Kim have talked that after the mowing season, we're going to reconvene to talk about next year. I had some ideas for them as far as setting some priorities and maybe, this was not one that I had on my list.
I'd like to take a walk with you
But
over there. And really
I was just over last week. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
But no, I'll be happy to walk with you. But the thing is it comes down to, I think what we're gonna have to do is assign a person to it. That's my opinion, but we can talk about that in the work session.
That's the way it's always been in the past. There's usually one guy who took care of the fields.
That way it's done the same way.
Yep.
And okay. Okay, well, I got it down here. We'll get something set up.
Good, thank you.
All right. You got it. All right, any other new business, guys? If not, any old business? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Second? Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion will carry. All right. All right. I'd like to call to order the City of Lawrenceburg Utility Board meeting for September 4th, 2018. Roll call, please.
Board Member Tony Abbott.
Here.
Board Member Aaron Cook.
Here.
Board Member Mel Davis.
Here.
Board Member Randy Abner.
Here.
Board Member Paul Seymour Jr.
Here.
City Attorney Dal Weldon.
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen.
Present.
President Kelly Milan. Here. And myself.
All right. Any announcements, Mr. Clausen?
We have just about completed all of the Whiskey City Rodeo field, the apprentice and the journeyman fields. I'm talking with Mike today. He's got just a couple little things to touch up, but we should be complete with that this week. Starting probably towards the end of this week and next week, Mario and I are going to start looking at getting the bleachers in around the rodeo arena itself. So we can start figuring out the seating and stuff. I'm working with Fire Chief Tremaine to get an evacuation plan put together. I'm going to kind of wait until the fabric building is completed so we can do that and map it and have some things to actually point to, or emergency procedures in case we have, heaven forbid, we've been an active shooter or something like that. So those things are coming along nicely. The one thing that we could use, and this is to the board, any of the groups that you guys deal with that might have kids that want to volunteer and come down and help the day of, which would be the 27th, 28th, or 29th, we could use all the volunteers that we could get for the events. We've turned the parking over to Kiwanis, so Kiwanis is going to be handling all the parking. And we've got a pretty robust volunteer group already built up, but I figure we could use all the help that we could get. Currently, we've got, and I just had 2 more teams registered today, we've got that puts us at about 75 journeyman linemen that'll be in town, and about 50 apprentices. And I think the expectation is most of these people will bring their kids, so we're going to have, a couple hundred people here for 4 days. We've nearly booked the entire convention center, all the hotel rooms there, so we're expecting a big turnout, and I think the businesses will definitely have some good solid days. That in conjunction with Fall Fest, there's gonna be a lot of things going on. So that concludes my announcements.
Okey dokey.
Mayor, I'd like to add something.
Yes.
It's been a great project. Olin's more than done his part on this thing. I know it was a joint project and all, but the utility has really stepped up to the plate, and the place is looking real good over there. And the only other comment I'd like out of you is can you compare, if you're expecting that many linemen and apprentices this year? I mean, I really like the one you had over there. How many people did you have come to that one?
The rodeo that we had 2 years ago, and I think this should give you some indication as to the impacts. We had 12 journeyman linemen here for that rodeo. And we had several businesses that came in and reported that was their highest sales week ever in existence for them. So instead of having 12, we've got 60 journeymen from all across the country, and we've got these additional 50 apprentices. At the last rodeo, I think we had 12 or 13 apprentices. So we have by far and away eclipsed those numbers.
What we want, people downtown.
You're going to have them.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. Any other announcements?
I'd like to add 2 things under new business.
Oh, you want to just wait till new business?
Sure, that's fine.
Yeah. If no more announcements, I entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
I'll move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Committee report?
I don't have any at this time, Your Honor.
Okey doke. New business.
We got 2 items. One of them is going to be, I don't know how you want to phrase it, but the city has contributed $15,000 towards the rodeo. as has the utility. What I would like for the city to consider, typically, and we've got gift baskets that are bags that we're putting together for all of the participants. So I would like for the city, and I don't care what it is, but for the city to consider something that these folks can take home with them that is, Lawrenceburg, City on the Rise, that we can put into these bags.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I don't care what it is, but I just don't want to miss an opportunity to send something back with them that.
Can you get with Kelly? She
Sure.
takes care of that and she probably has some things that are that we've used for events up here at the event center. Or if it's something we need to get in quickly, we can do. But yeah, I agree. We want something with our logo and stuff, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other item, I was made aware today that a few of the utilities here in Indiana nominated me for the APPA board. And the nominations committee called me this afternoon and said that I was unanimously approved for the regular board for APPA. The requirement would be that I would attend some meetings, the same meetings that are identified in my contract, same meetings that I already go to. But I think it'd be appropriate if we had a motion showing support for me being appointed to that position. It's a 3-year term.
How many years is it?
3.
3. That's APPA?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you already go to these meetings?
I already go to these meetings.
Now you just, okay. I'd like to make a motion that he continues his work with these,
The APPA? Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'd like to add a comment.
Okay.
Can you bring back info from these meetings? Can you give us updates?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
And Mel could probably tell us a lot more about the board functions than, I honestly don't have any idea, Mel.
Yeah, I served on the board for, I think it was 11 years. The APPA board sets a policy for the municipal utilities to follow, and also sets the policies for, tries to set the policies for Congress. They don't pay much attention to us, but we try. They also govern the company, the APPA, and decide where meetings are going to be, when they're going to be, just pretty much as a board of directors for the whole organization. There were, I'm not sure if there still are, 2,300 municipal utilities in the United States. So it's quite a large group. At the national meeting, there's usually 3,000 to 3,500 people from all over, including Canada, Philippines, used to be Puerto Rico. I don't know if they'll do that anymore or not. They were pretty embarrassed after this point. But anyway, it's a good function. It's good PR for the city of Lawrenceburg. We will be the smallest utility serving on that board. So I think it's a good move. You'll enjoy it.
Well, thank you for support. That's how we do it from now on.
Thanks for your update, Mel. So how many people are on the board?
I don't know that either.
There are 12 districts,
Okay.
and there are 2 people from each district, 2 to 3. It depends on the number of utilities in that district.
I got you. Okay. All right. Well, once again, congratulations being appointed to that, Owen. Any other new business?
No, Your Honor.
Old business, let me preface this. We've got the salary ordinance down here. The last meeting, we voted, we took one vote to suspend the rules on ordinance number 13-2018. And then it wasn't unanimous, so we couldn't go any further. So the idea was to bring that back up tonight. But since then, there's been some requests to change some wording, not the amounts, not the dollar figures, but wording in the ordinance. Am I correct in saying that? So we have a corrected ordinance here tonight as well. But I think what we need to do, since this one was already brought up at the last meeting, I'm talking about ordinance number 13-2018, that needs to go for the final vote tonight. But, I mean, you know, if council or USB's desire is to look at the ordinance with the wording changes that was presented tonight or given to you, then,
Your Honor, can't we take your suggestion, vote on the original ordinance, then amend that ordinance?
well, I would rather see you, I think you could, but I would rather see you just vote this one down.
Vote at all, which I can.
Or, you know, a lack of second or something, but, and then go for, you know, start the process with the new
With the
one,
new
with
ordinance.
the,
Sure.
with the wording changes. Does that make sense? Is everybody okay with that? That format? I mean, I can't tell you how you're gonna do on this. I mean, you might put this through, but I'm just making that suggestion. Trying to keep it a little cleaner, but. Okay, so tonight, we are going to present ordinance number 13-2018 for a vote for final approval. So I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second. Is that a second? No. Okay, so fails for lack of second. Okay. Hope that was clear as mud. You got the new one? Everybody have a copy of the wording change one?
You didn't have a copy? I have one.
I will give you time to read it.
I think we're good.
Oh, got it?
Yeah.
Everybody got one?
He had one, so
You got one?
I got the draft.
Randy has one?
Okay, so take a few minutes, please read through it and make any notes that you may want to discuss or before we go forward. This ordinance number 14.
Kelly, would now be a good time for me to ask Olin a question?
Sure.
While they're reading.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Olin, can you explain for everybody the utility part-time help?
Utility part-time help, because we're adding so much more business to the utility, there's going to be times where we have a substantial increase. The ebb and flows are going to be more volatile. The part-time help is a position, it's not a summer help position, it's a position that we would hire people in the community. If I'm being completely candid, it would be, I think about some of the older population that have skill sets, whether it be accounting or bookwork, that could come in from periods of time, 10 hours, 20 hours a week, to help us account for or overcome some of the increase in workflow. Like I said, it's strictly part-time. It would not be for summer help, and the intention would be to bring in clerical-type employees to help us with, especially over the next few months and maybe next couple of years, until we kind of have a sense of what type of positions we might actually need in terms of full-time. I don't want to just go out and hire people and then realize we're overstaffed or something like that. So having the flexibility of some part-time labor and raising the wage up to where it's appealing to some of those people to actually come and do those things for us, that's the impetus behind it.
Okay, thank you.
Olin, each one of these blocks, is that a year, like, as the amounts increase a little bit, is each one a year increase?
Yeah, we had the increases are 2%, so they match the CBA.
Okay, so that's per year, though?
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
On our lineman and our superintendent, with the raises they get for the extra work they're doing, say 6 months down the road, if we see that they're too busy and you have to hire in more help, and these guys going back doing their regular job, does their wage go back down to their regular pay?
That's a good question. I don't anticipate being less busy. If we're less busy, then we're not monetizing the fiber
Well,
system.
I'm not saying less busy, more busy where they can't do their lineman jobs because they're out doing the fiber optic work.
Well, so to not utilize the journeyman lineman in this capacity means that we're hiring dedicated people to do just fiber optics. The downside of that is we're not getting the value out of those employees that the city would otherwise enjoy. I guess, think of it like this: if you've got an employee who can do both of those types of jobs, it's a more versatile employee, it's more valuable to the city, it helps us reduce our overhead costs. Each one of these employees, if I were to hire new, would be $132,000 roughly a year, if you look at all the benefits and everything that come along with the job. So the fewer people that I can hire and the more busy the guys are, and I mean busy to a point. If I see that we're so busy that I need additional staff, it means that we're so busy doing electrical and fiber projects both that I need more staff, which means, quite frankly, we're being successful. We're making, we're creating a successful utility. So in the future, if I hired people, I would hire people with the intentions of having those people do both types of jobs, both roles. The only exception to that would be the positions that you guys already approved, which would be the control tech positions that would be specifically customer premises equipment and the interior of the homes, wiring the routers and things on the interior of people's homes.
And these people that we have now, that you want to train, these linemen, are they willing to go ahead and take the training?
Yeah, they are. It will be a requirement that all of the journeyman linemen are certified fiber techs.
Is there a time frame that you've given them? Talked about, or?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about 30 days. Anybody that's brought on has 30 days to get their initial testing done. Right now, we're real busy. And so I could foresee, a circumstance where I've got guys out pulling fiber and putting fiber in the air that maybe don't have their certification yet for splicing, not because they failed to do so or because they can't, but because we're still trying to build the system too. And so there's some jockeying on my part that has to be done to be able to get the guys and get training done and still have crews here working. I think the solution to that is Light Brigade, the company that I got my fiber certificate through, that Harper and Eric got their certificate through. We can get them to come here to do the training. I want to say that there's a company that reached out to me that wanted to join in that training and help reduce our costs, a private company. And I can't remember, I have to look at my emails to see, but they got wind through Light Brigade that we're thinking about bringing them here and emailed and asked if they could help share the cost of that and get their folks trained same time.
If somebody doesn't take this, they'll go back to the regular rate of pay?
They're not going to have an option to not take it.
Okay.
If they're going to work here as journeyman, they're going to be journeyman/fiber techs. Because I don't want to.
If they don't take it, they'll never get the rate of pay, right?
No, but they're going to have a hard time. The discussions I've had with the employees is it doesn't make sense to me to have to try to pick and choose who's on call, who responds, if they can't do all the work that's in front of them.
Right.
I mean, if I've got a guy who isn't certified fiber and then I get some kind of outage that's happening with the fiber and I send a guy up there, it means I have to bring somebody else in. It's a cost to us that we could otherwise avoid. So they're all going to have to be knowledgeable and be able to fix those problems and do those types of things, just like they do on the electric. When it comes to electrical outages, I don't have to pick and choose who I send up to fix the electric. They can all do the work. And that'll be the same standard of service for the fiber piece.
Cross-trained.
Yes.
Mayor, are we going to do this across the board? If we do it for the utility department, the police department, the fire department, and everybody else?
Well, here, did you read through this?
I read through that, right.
Here, let me explain something so people understand. The Utility Service Board by ordinance was set up here in Lawrenceburg that I'm on this board, all I do is run the meeting. If there's a 2-2 tie, I can't even break the tie on the Utility Service Board, okay? I'm saying things that I'm just sort of finding out myself in the last few weeks. So with that said, if you read the ordinance for utility service, the Utilities Department and Utility Service Board, I am in charge of Civil City and police, fire, and EMS. We negotiate every 4 years. The way I'm reading this and the way I think Olin is looking at it is this is in addition to their job duties, if I'm not speaking out of turn. So the answer is no, I'm not interested in, if I negotiate, it's going to be for the entire Civil City and fire, police, and EMS.
And I want everybody to understand, if we were talking about maintaining another 10 or 20 miles of power line, that's their current job. I wouldn't advocate for additional pay based on that. But these are new tasks that are not performed, have not been performed in the city, that have substantial value to the city. And I believe this is a smart move for us to do, other than staffing all new employees. I sent each of you a business model based on if we hired new employees to fill these positions, and we have one or two options under that scenario. Number one, every year that the fiber business is in business, we lose money. We never get upright. And number two is we charge such high rates for the product that the whole goal that we had as a board to provide low-cost, reliable fiber optics to the community is gone. It's a thing of the past.
I'd like to add something. We're talking about how much a man costs, $130,000. That is an accurate number, but what about putting these men in trucks if we don't combine these utilities? What about a building? What if we have to do it all separate? Starting a new utility will bring business into this town. Mm-hmm. It's going to benefit the town an awful lot. And if we don't combine it with our utility, we've got cost of trucks, we've got cost of tools, we've got cost of, where are we going to put them at? What building are we going to put them in? We got utilities, we got upkeep on a different building. This just absolutely makes nothing but perfect sense.
I just want to know from Olin that 6 months or a year from now, you're not going to come to us and say, now we need to hire fiber optic guys. And these guys, these linemen, are going back to their lineman jobs.
No. I can give you my word that won't happen.
I'll hold you to that.
Please do. I may come to you and say we need to hire more people.
You hire more linemen with fiber optics.
Yes, but if I do that, that means we are moving this new business forward so quickly that in order to provide the services to the customer, these are things we have to do. And I'll have a business model built showing what our revenues are at that point, how we've either exceeded or what we've done based on what we've anticipated to do. And I quite frankly hope that's the case, because that means we're doing a good job. But I think you can all attest that we get by on far fewer people than we should at times. I've got people that are, working in several different offices, doing several different things, because we don't want to add unnecessary people. We want to hire the right number of people, and I want those people to be busy. I don't want downtime. I don't want wasted hours, wasted pay.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Where do you apply for that job at?
Uh,
Not for me. I don't do electrical work, but I have a guy that does fiber optics, and he's got an electrical engineer degree, and he does a lot of traveling for IntelliTrack. He does repair systems. And if you're looking for knowledgeable people, I know a guy that's looking to get off the road and be home more.
So what I'll tell you is this: we have a process upon how we hire people. First thing we do is we go out to the workforce that already exists. Bids are hung. People are interested in those bids, sign those bids. Then I evaluate them based on their credentials to determine whether or not they're going to be awarded the bid. In the event that we don't find anybody that's appropriate, then we go outside and we place ads in the paper. So my advice to you would be to tell your friend to keep his eye on the paper. When those
Is there a certain one, or?
Anywhere where are we placing those ads?
It would be the locally here, register in the journal.
Register in the journal? That's the only place?
Do we put it on our Facebook page?
Yeah, well, you can also communicate on our website, Lawrenceburg.gov. They're always up there. And then we put them out, we share them on our Facebook page, get them posted.
I'll tell him to keep his eye out there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Any other questions up here? As far as the ordinance, any wording that you guys had a chance to take a look through it? Okay. All right, then, Mr. Weldon, I'll let you.
Okay.
First reading of it. We want to suspend the rules first, right?
We did after the reading, and Director Clausen, is this what you want to present, and I'll read it for you, is that okay?
That's fine.
This would be ordinance number 14-2018, City of Lawrenceburg, Dearborn County, Indiana, joint ordinance of the Lawrenceburg Utility Service Board and the Common Council of the City of Lawrenceburg, whereas Lawrenceburg Utility Service Board is an Indiana statutory entity created in 1996 under Indiana Code 81.53382, and thus vested with the legal authority over Lawrenceburg municipal utilities contained in Indiana law and local ordinance. And whereas, pursuant to Indiana Code 81.53481, the Lawrenceburg Utility Service Board has the exclusive authority to fix the number and compensation of employees, and neither the mayor nor the Board of Public Works and Safety has the authority to make decisions concerning the number and compensation of Lawrenceburg municipal utilities employees, except the powers of management to negotiate a collective bargaining agreement for its union employees. And whereas the Lawrenceburg Utility Service Board has, pursuant to Indiana Code 81.533A, designated a superintendent, and in the superintendent vested the responsibility for the detailed supervision of the utility, and who is responsible to the board for the business and technical operation of the utility, as well as the additional powers granted by Indiana Code 81.535, which includes the power to appoint, supervise, and dismiss all employees of the utility, and oversee the operation of the utility in any construction work, repairs, or alterations to the system. And whereas the Lawrenceburg Municipal Utilities Superintendent has recommended and received approval to create, establish, operate, and maintain a new department for fiber utility services to the benefit of the citizens of the City of Lawrenceburg and the ratepayers of the Lawrenceburg Municipal Utilities. And whereas the new Fiber Utility Services Department requires that new work, duties, training, and other related responsibilities be performed by the employees of the Lawrenceburg Municipal Utilities. And whereas it is the recommendation of the Superintendent of Lawrenceburg Municipal Utilities that rather than creating new positions, these additional fiber utility services job duties be assigned to existing employees with an increase in compensation commensurate with the increase in job duties. And whereas the Utility Service Board
having heard the proposal of the superintendent and having discussed the matter at an open meeting and contemplating all relevant factors, now ordains that it is in the best interest of the citizens of the city of Lawrenceburg and the ratepayers of Lawrenceburg Municipal Utilities to accept the proposed changes in job duties and related increase in compensation. And whereas the Utility Service Board now directs the Common Council of the City of Lawrenceburg to amend its current salary ordinance to reflect the changes made, and whereas the Common Council of the City of Lawrenceburg, pursuant to the mandate of the Utility Service Board, now finds that the salary ordinance should be so amended. And the ordinance contains the modifications to the salary ordinance as discussed. So that is the presentation. I would ask first for a vote to pass the ordinance on the same night that it is presented with the new language. It's the same numbers as the last one, but that would be the first appropriate vote.
I'll entertain a motion.
Moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And then I would just ask.
Carry.
Yes, sir, Your Honor. And then I would just ask for a motion to approve the ordinance.
Need a motion to approve ordinance number 14-2018 as read.
Moved.
Second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right.
Thank you.
Any other old business?
I appreciate the vote. Thank you.
Any other old business? Old?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? A motion will pass, and a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. I'd like to call to order the City of Lawrenceburg Council meeting for September 4, 2018. All rise for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right, Mr. Richardson, how can we get another roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Councilperson Tony Abbott.
Here.
Councilperson Aaron Cook.
Here.
Councilperson Mel Davis.
Here.
Councilperson Randy Abner.
Here.
Councilperson Paul Seymour Jr.
Here.
Police Chief Don Combs.
Here.
Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
Here.
EMS Director Bobby Mills. City Attorney Dale Weldon.
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen.
Present.
Mayor Kelly Milan.
Here.
And myself.
Okay, announcements, board report, streets, alleys, and curbs. Mr. Aaron Cook.
I don't have anything under streets, alleys, and curbs, but I do have two questions under here. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
The first one is on the Davis properties down there. Maybe Dale can explain how that process works, how we got back the receivership, because there's a lot of stuff going around town right now that a few people ask me, and if Dale can maybe explain it on the record.
question.
Yeah, like how the receivership works, how we got into receivership, and when the city gets it back, whatever the process might be.
No, that is a good question. And so there's a hearing in court on Friday to kind of finalize the foreclosure of the loan. So this was, remember, originally it was a loan that was secured by the property. And so finally that part of the court process is over. The only part left is to do a sheriff's sale, which again is, and we actually had a kind of a smaller meeting here, like a town hall, to talk to the residents because they were going to see sheriff's sale in the newspaper. And so it is important that everyone knows that we're not selling the property. No one is getting kicked out or evicted. All the leases are still in effect. That's just something we have to do. That goes up for sheriff's sale, and then we get to buy it with the judgment that we got in the foreclosure in court. So we get that property back, and then we own it. So once we maintain ownership, which I would say is probably 60 days, we'd like to be in 30 days, but everything takes longer than you'd like it to in court. That's why there's a receiver, because in the meantime, especially when the case was still being litigated and Greg still owned the properties, but we were going through the process of calling in the loan. The receiver is appointed by the court. We requested, but the receiver works for the court, not the city or Greg Davis. And so the receiver just goes in, makes sure the property is maintained, make sure all the rents are collected, can enter into new leases if that needs to happen. And so now that we are winding down and getting to the final stages, what we're doing is changing receivers from the old receiver we had to a new one. The old one we had was kind of a regional dude from Cincinnati, and we're going to substitute in a local person just so we have more control. And we will keep the properties maintained. If any tenants need anything, we take care of it, and we take their rents in, and we take their rents and we put them in a separate account and report to the court. We don't even get those rents yet. And then the bigger maintenance, I think, will probably be a redevelopment project. If there are things we want to happen in the buildings, like new stairs or things like that, we'll probably present those to redevelopment after Chief Tremaine and Carl Fryman and whomever else gets to take a look at them and see if there's anything we can do. That's just kind of optional, but all the things that are necessary, we'll take care of already. So, yeah, I think that again, we had the town hall, but it is good, since we're at a public meeting, just say again to all the tenants that no matter what you see, if it's a sheriff's sale, that's just part of the court process that we have to do, but everyone's leases are good, no one's getting thrown out, and we have good tenants, and they're all going to stay where they are if that's where they want to be.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that'd be the best way, just so everybody can watch it on YouTube or whatever. So
yeah, no, thank you.
Instead of the gossip spreading around. And then the other thing I had was, I've had several people contact me over the past few months about they're painting their houses, and like 1.5, 2 years later, they're black again. Is there anybody that we can contact at the distilleries, or they can contact over there? We can give them their number, or what can we do about that?
Well, first of all, that issue was kind of settled in the class action that everyone's kind of familiar with.
Yeah.
There was a lawsuit, and then the solution was everyone kind of got a check, but of course, that doesn't take care of everyone forever.
Yeah.
And I can.
But that was for certain years and stuff. I forget when it ended, but it ended at a certain point. It wasn't current or anything.
Yeah, and it's something that I think the city has always dealt with as long as we've had the distillery. But I know that Mayor and Mr. Richardson and Mr. Seymour have kind of contemplated this a little bit in the budget process. And if there is something we can do, obviously we're the city, we're not the distillery, but if there is something we can do, or if we can communicate with them to help them address that issue, we definitely will.
So just have them call your office then, or?
No, I mean, again, they would have to call
I would have them call
Seagram's.
MGP.
Yeah, they'd have to call MGP.
Any certain contact, or do you guys know?
I know the plant manager's name is Mike Templin.
Okay.
I don't have his number with me, Aaron. But,
Okay.
I tell you, what we are planning on doing is meeting with MGP.
Okay, I guess it's picked up a lot over the past few years as well. Like, people are, like I said,
Yeah.
I know, just the one I heard about today, for example, they painted their house 2 years ago and it's already black.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, it's a catch-22, and it doesn't make it good or bad. The busier they are, the more barrels they have, the more residue that's being emitted into the atmosphere.
Yeah.
So yes, it's sort of a catch-22.
Okay.
Yeah. But we are going to have a meeting with them to see if there's anything they can do in their warehouses to minimize it.
Okay.
I don't think it'll ever go away.
Yeah.
But minimize
Or maybe they
it.
could have some kind of program for the people that are so many feet away, where they could, every year pressure wash their house, whatever that fee might be, because that's not that expensive.
Yep. Yep. You may hear more about that in the budget workshop, too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else, Aaron?
No, that's all, man.
Okay, anybody, finance, Mr. Abbott?
It's fine.
Parks and Playgrounds, Mr. Seymour?
Nothing at all.
Fire, Randy Abner?
Not a thing. Everything's working fine, right, Chief?
Great.
Yeah, always.
I've got one announcement that I want to remind you guys that I need a quorum on next Monday afternoon at 3 o'clock. You'll see it on your list there. The Civic Park Phase 3 bid award is that day. It'll be a 5-minute meeting, I would assume. but I need to have a quorum here. So if you could, if you could let me know if you can make it, that way we'll know we'll have enough folks. So, one. I can't.
Taking Dad fishing.
Oh, that's a good thing.
Leaving Monday morning.
That's a good thing. Mel, you in town Monday?
Should be, yeah.
You available at 3 o'clock?
Yeah.
For that, it's on your list there, we need a quorum.
Or is it one?
Food?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sound like, yeah, everybody wanting food to get to a meeting, right?
If it's right at 3, I can be here.
Okay, I don't anticipate it being very long
Okay.
at all. It just, we gotta have 3 of yous here to approve the award. So, okay, that's all I had as far as announcements. If no other announcements, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. And then one additional one is we had a council work session on the same night on August 22nd. I need a motion to approve those minutes.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. All right, committee reports. Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
The only thing I have is I've passed out the run totals for August.
Yes, sir.
And Mary's got some pretty nice pictures, if anyone wants to look at them over there, some of the older pictures from back when I was on the department.
Back in the day? All black and white if you're on the department.
Joe Meyer's wife passed away, so Jay's been going through stuff, and he's been dropping off the pictures.
Oh, that's cool. Good.
They were pretty cool.
Not me. Okay, Police Chief Don Combs.
Thank you, Mayor. I got an email a couple weeks ago from Mark Kaniga. He gave me the total number that raised in the Lauren Hill. They raised $15,434.
Good.
In the
Good.
past 4 years, they've raised almost $60,000.
Wow, that's
on that.
great.
So it's a really good program, so. And I want to remind everybody tonight, I know I mentioned this before, about one of our reserve officers, SRO Andy Klein, singing the national anthem at the Reds game on the 12th of this month. It's on a Wednesday, right in the middle of the day, so somebody skip work, I guess, to.
Yeah.
And also, he is also going to represent the police department, state of Lawrenceburg, at the Law Enforcement Memorial Service, the 20th of September of this month. 4 officers were killed in the line of duty. So he represents us very well, does a very good job.
Yeah.
School resource going really good, so no complaints there. The assistant chief and myself met with Hollywood Security Director, Eric Cordero. We are meeting here in the near future, partying together, active shooter training, so getting a good relationship there when the other one left. And we are going to help the homecoming parade this Friday, so getting all set up.
Hopefully no rain.
Yeah, hopefully no rain.
Now, that reminds me, that 5 o'clock Central School, if you're interested in riding. Mr. Tremaine, are you going to help us out there, buddy? You're the man. Thank you.
I met with Brad today, and he's got the streets all marked off where they want.
Okay.
So, you ready, set and go?
All right. EMS Director Bobby Mills.
Yeah, the fuel station for our 2 bottles, I gave all the council a copy of the list.
We'll make the proper appropriations when we do appropriations later. Yeah. Not in your budget.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, new business. Mr. Greg Townsend. Fire 2019, or let's recap of the 2018 and talk about 2019.
Sure. Thank you. My name is Greg Townsend. I am the local coordinator for Special Olympics Indiana that serves Ripley, Ohio, and Dearborn counties. And I have 2 orders of business. First, on behalf of the 250-some athletes that we serve, I want to take this time to thank council, the utilities department, the police department, the fire department, and EMS for their support in the 2018 fire truck pool that was held on August 18th here in downtown Lawrenceburg. It was the most successful pool that we put on in the 7 years that we've been putting the pool on. And I have, or I should say, we have a token of our appreciation to present to council.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Greg. Appreciate your work.
I will say that I think moving the pool to downtown Lawrenceburg, especially onto High Street, was the key to our success this year. The pool brought in over $6,000 more than we expected. We were able to gross over $21,000 in this year's pool. So thank you. Those funds, we still have some invoices coming in, so we don't know what we actually netted yet. But I do know it's a big number. And those funds help with training and competition for our athletes on the local, state, national level, and international level. You may have read in the paper that recently, back in July, we had 4 athletes compete in the USA Games. They represented Team Indiana. Back in March of 2017, we had an athlete travel to Austria to compete in the World Winter Games. So we have a lot going on, a lot of success stories, and it's projects like this that help us continue our mission here in Ripley, Ohio, and Dearborn counties. The second thing, in preparation for our 2019 fire truck pool, I would like to seek approval to block East High Street between Walnut and Short Streets on August the 17th in any alleys that might exit into High Street there. We are doing away with the car show. The car show this past year was a second attempt at doing it, and it has not been very successful. So we're going to just concentrate on the fire truck pool itself, and we would just need that one block to do that.
Don't forget, you'll have the park next year at that time. For vendors and stuff, if you want to put them inside the park.
Okay,
I mean,
yes.
It goes right perpendicular.
It ends right, yeah.
Greg, I know I was down there a lot of the day, and I was really excited. I mean, I was real excited that the rain held out. Because that morning, I think we were talking, I mean, we did feel a few drops and everything, but I mean, it really got sunny and had, I mean, it was just it was a great turnout, great time, and we appreciate your work as well.
Thank you. And I will say that we took extra effort this year to work with the merchants that and the restaurants that are on that block, and they were very receptive. They came out and we got a couple pizzas from Strong's and everything, and they came out and enjoyed the fun as well.
Good.
So thank you.
You're welcome. I guess I do need a motion to approve the fire truck poll for 2019.
I'll make that motion for 2019.
Okay, second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion will carry. Yes, sir.
Going back to that, it just popped in my head, will he have to, being that's going to be down there, and you mentioned the Civic Park, is there going to be a scheduling avenue for that park that day?
Yes.
It might be.
We are currently, we've got a number of folks from around the community with the different groups like Rivertown Players and schools and everything working on getting a schedule put together for that. So yes, we will just have that added to that date, and it'll be reserved for that date.
Because that's where the stage will be.
Yes. Yes, you're right. Good point. Thank you, Chief. Okay, any other new business?
I've got something.
Yes, sir.
And this is a thought. I'd like to see it happen. We're talking about the budget right now. I don't know if is the budget set.
The budget is almost done, but we're having our workshop. We're trying to schedule something for next week.
I'm gonna give you something to think about.
Okay. Yes.
We just hired 2 people. I don't want them getting in the habit of going over to the garage, and I don't want to turn them into weed eaters. We just hired 2 talented people. We've got a lot of work we can do. There ain't nothing more that we need in this town than a truck with an inventory of tools. I know we have the tools, and we used to have the old truck, but we sold it on an auction. I would like to see, and I don't care whether it's new or used,